Hello there. 2 weeks ago, my Q4 was in for a software update at the Audi dealership. And while it was in, they gave it a health check. So I thought I'd summarise what they found in this video. The technician at the dealership sent me a video while it was in the workshop, and I also got a text version of it later on. They showed me underneath the car, told me that all the suspension components seemed fine, and there's nothing to report. And they gave me a report on the tyres and the brakes, and that's where things get a bit interesting. The tyres have been on the car since 13,000 miles, so just over 10,000 miles. And coincidentally, this time last year, I covered about 11,000 miles and I did a video update on the tyre wear. Click on the link above and you'll get that video. Looking at the driver's side front tyre, all the edges look pretty good, treads looking in nice shape, and it was measured at 5.2 millimeters of tread. The legal minimum's 1.6, so plenty of life there. And same at the passenger side front. No signs of abnormal wear, plenty of depth on it. Moving to the rear, measured the rear tyres at 3.7 millimeters of tread on both sides. And again, no signs of uneven wear or anything like that. Now, I measured the tyres when they arrived and they had 6 millimeters to start. So that would suggest that the fronts should be good for about 50,000 miles and the rears for about 19,000 miles. That's assuming the wear rate remains constant and we use the tyres all the way down to the legal minimum of 1.6 millimeters. And comparing the Pirellis that are on it now to the Bridgestones that were on it originally, at 11,000 miles, the Bridgestones on the front were down to 3 millimeters of tread, whereas the Pirellis are on 5.2. And there's not been any difference in my driving style or my commute or anything like that. I'm driving it exactly the same as I always have. But the Pirellis seem to be lasting a bit better, particularly on the edges of the front tyres. When you look at the rears, the Bridgestones last year at 11,000 miles were down to 2 millimeters of tread, whereas the Pirellis after 10,000 miles 3.7. So again, wear rate's far better on the Pirellis. Moving on to the brakes, as you'll no doubt know, the rear brakes on the Q4 are drums, which are starting to look a bit tatty by the way. They don't take those apart to inspect them, they're assumed to have plenty of life in them. They're not doing a huge amount of braking because the regen does a lot of it. And the fronts, they measured at having 12 millimeters of pad left. Now, that meant nothing to me. 12 millimeters could be a lot or it could be a little. So I had a look online at gauges for this, and 12 seems to be like the maximum one on most of the gauges I could find. So I'm assuming plenty life left in the pads. Good news all round then. The tyres are lasting much better, particularly the fronts, and the brakes seem like they're going to last for ages, mostly because most of the braking I do is done using regen rather than the mechanical brakes. And that's all I've got for you in this update. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.